Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight is the weekly True Crime and Chill. And joining me on time, it's not Mr. Beckham. It's even better. Friend of the show and amazing fucking friend in real life, Corey Novak. Let's bring him on. Hey,
Hey,
Corey.
what's going on? That was very nice of you to say.
It's all true. It's all true. And I am accepting resumes to replace Mr. Beckham. So if you would like to get yours in, I'll get it to the top of the pile. Just
W-
saying.
Well, I feel honored, but you got me on a special day because I'm not working like I normally am on Friday nights, so consider it a special occasion, I suppose.
So I know your time is limited how long you can be here tonight. So I'm very grateful for you to be here.
Thank you.
So we'll do,
I appreciate being here. I appreciate you having me.
yeah. All right, look at James Watson already popping off in the chat. Corey Novak, you really hit the bottom of the
Yeah.
barrel.
Yes, you reached out to me, James. She's like, I got nothing I can do. Got nowhere to go. So,
Oh, look at the. Oh my God, his Wi-Fi must have gone out. Oh shit.
did he come up?
No, oh God. So Beckham will be on later, and so we'll keep an eye for him. So I'll go a little bit out of order tonight. In regards to, I'll do the kind of like administrative stuff a little bit later on. We do have a bunch of cases to talk about, but let's first see who's here in the chat, and then yeah, Corey will get started because he is doing the lead on a case tonight. So we already know James Watts. Who's next? Capone. Oh, geez. Kane, hello. Tony Stewart, hello. I did see your email, Tony. I was running behind and late tonight. Corey can attest to that. So my apologies, but Tony, I did see your email. So good to hear from you, hon. Howdy from the casino, Capone. Well, rub it in. Why don't I hope you were at oh God, what's the hotel that has kitty glitter? Cosmopolitan. I hope you were at the Cosmopolitan. K Dog, hi. Becca must be going full time with the candles. Oh my God. Yeah, he just doesn't use them all in his house, so it looks like he has no electricity. Just popping in to say hi unless they bust me out early. Sounds fair. I know, Tony, and I appreciate that. Good to see you. All right, and for everybody who is watching but not in the chat, thank you for joining. Jump in the chat, y'all, please, if you are watching. We are a lovely bunch here. We are friendly, very supportive group. So jump on in and, yeah, be interactive. So, Corey, so we messaged a little bit this week about an update in the West Memphis 3 case. And I do not know as much about this as you. So I would love if you could explain to everybody what's new in the past week, what kind of news has come out, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Well, there has been a judge ordered DNA testing of evidence connected with the West Memphis 3 murders. And yeah, basically the West Memphis 3 are trying to exonerate themselves with this uh, quote unquote new evidence that was thought to be destroyed. And so, yeah, I think they had a hearing the other day and we're just waiting for them to send it to the labs. They're sending it to a place called Bodie Labs. The Bodie Labs have been, from what I can see, has been working with the West Memphis Three's defense for a long time now. I believe they used Bodie Labs back in 2007 for some DNA testing that they did, where the big thing with the Terry Hobbs hair became a huge sensation. So yeah, that's who's going to be doing it again. And
Quickly, who is Terry Hobbs for people that don't know?
he is the stepfather of one of the murder victims of that case.
Okay, thank you.
Stevie Branch, to be exact. If you don't know, the victims are Stevie Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore. And the West Memphis Three would be Jason Baldwin, Jesse Misskelley, and Damian Eccles.
Thank you. We have Angie Newman. Hello, nephew.
Oh, hey, Aunt Angie. How are you doing?
Hey, Angie. I'm going to give you a wrench, so hang tight. But okay, sorry. Continue, Corey.
Where was I?
You were naming, I asked you who Terry Hobbs was, and you mentioned that in addition to naming all of the victims and those who were accused of the crime.
Okay. So yeah, uh, that's that. If you don't know it, if you don't know anything about it, May 5th, 1993, three boys were murdered. Three little boys. They were all 8 years old, and it was a very gruesome scene. And the West Memphis Three were charged and convicted guilty. And during the trial, HBO did a documentary um, going over the trial, and they released it, I believe, in 1996. And still today, it's called Paradise Lost. And because of that documentary, there's been very much speculation on whether or not they are guilty or innocent. And I'll say there's a good argument there for either side. So if you haven't seen it, it's a very good documentary. Very, very good. It's on Max right now, HBO Max, if you want to watch it if you haven't already. There's three of them actually. There's Paradise Lost 1, 2, and 3, and then another documentary called West of Memphis that was released um after they got their freedom in 2011. Yeah, so the West Memphis 3, they got their freedom in 2011 after they pled guilty to take the Alford plea. So they're out. They're out now. And it would appear that they're just trying to exonerate their name with this new DNA testing. They've been
Quickly,
trying to do this. They've been trying to do this for a few years, but I believe originally it got shut down by the county, which is like I don't know how to pronounce it, like Crittenden County or something like that. But they denied it. But then the Arkansas Supreme Court uh, ruled it that they should be able to get this test done. So, yep, that's what they're doing.
quickly, what is the Alford plea for those that don't know?
I can't really give a good definition for it.
I
Do you
can. If you can't, I
okay, yeah.
can.
No, yeah, I can't.
So, okay. Well, first, Corey, you are getting a lot of love in the chat. Karen Pickford says hello, nephew. Oh, I love this.
Hey, Karen.
I love this. Karen and Angie, feel free to message me on the side. I would love to know the dirt about your nephew. I'm just kidding. There is none. There is none. He is amazing. So the former co-host of mine, Mr. Beckham, is in the chat and says that he saw the documentary last year. Kane saw the documentary as well. So the Karen, I'm going to give you a wrench as well. So the Alford plea, in a nutshell, basically means that they pled guilty because with the Alford plea, it basically means that they're not admitting guilt, but they acknowledge that there is enough evidence to be found guilty. And part of but if you're thinking, well, they've already been in jail, so why accept this plea? It's so on paper, they're guilty. They now have this on their record for the rest of your life. But the caveat is for them to accept that plea, then they were released from prison. So it's kind of weighing the best odds. Like they've been in prison for so long, they can get out right away, but they have to admit guilt. And once that's done, it kind of can't be undone. So in the eyes of, law enforcement, they have their people. They have their guilty. It's on their record forever. It is what it is. So in a brief nutshell, that's kind of what that means. Hey, Renee. So Corey, in regards to, so why would, with that being said, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, why would the three men fight so hard for this evidence to to be retested if they've already taken the Alford plea? I know you said it's to clear their names. Is there more to it than that? Or do you think it's for themselves? It's for the world to know we did not do this. What is your thoughts on that? Or maybe you don't know the answer.
Well, I have my thoughts.
And you don't have, if you want to say them, feel free, but you don't have to. I was not setting you up for that. Just
okay. Well, let me say this. All this newly discovered evidence has been tested a couple of times. They were originally tested when all of this happened by the state of Arkansas crime labs, and they've also been retested at this by another crime lab in Huntsville, Alabama, kind of like to confirm that the state of Arkansas did their job correctly. Where was I?
in regards to why the men would be fighting so hard to get these items tested, which you're saying they already were.
Well, check it out, man. Like, they want to clear their names because it's like you said, they took the Alford plea, but they're still convicted guilty. So that's still on the record. Like, it limits them on a lot of things that with their quote unquote freedom. Well, they have technically their freedom because, they're no longer in prison, but like, you're still going to be very limited if you got capital murder on your rap sheet. Like, you're just going to be limited of what's accessible to you as far as where you can live, as far as what kind of jobs you can have.
Traveling, you can't travel.
Traveling. Like, there's so many things. So like, I definitely, if it were me or you, we'd probably be doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So a lot of this has been tested before. So I honestly, again, you know way more about this case than I do. I did not know that. So for it to be retested, I guess I'm thinking, is it because changes in DNA testing since it was first tested? Or I guess to me, it doesn't make sense if it's already been tested.
Well, check it out. So in 2007, when some of this, I think most of this stuff that's being retested, when it was tested, like they were able to find some DNA, but there was a letter that said pretty much that most of this stuff is just inconclusive because, just of the time. They were using a swab DNA test for all this, and now they're using a new. It's not really new. They're calling it new, but it's been around since 1991, and it was originally used for something in the culinary world. But in 2011, this MVAC testing was introduced to law enforcement, so they could use it for specifically stuff like this. But anyways, they're using this MVAC testing to try to because it's a better test other than the swab test. It's a much stronger test.
That makes sense. So you had sent me the list of items that are going to be retested. Did you want to go through and list all of those items just so everybody's aware of, because it's not just one or two items, there's quite a bit.
There is. I've got it right here if you want me to.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
So the items to be analyzed include the ligatures, the Moore ligature hairs, Terry Hobbs hairs, Branch body hairs, Byers body hairs, Scout cap hairs, Blue pants hairs, tree stump hairs, dyed hair from white sheet covering Branch, blue jeans / blue wallet hair, Byers ligature hair, Stevie Branch, my hair from ligature, hair from lower body of Chris Byers hair from perineum, and one hair from sheet negroid hair.
Okay.
Once completed, Bodie Labs will provide a written report to the prosecuting attorney, the defendant's attorneys, and the Innocence Project. Copies of these reports will be filed with the court.
Okay. So is there any idea of when these items are going to be retested? Was there a time frame or a timeline given of a date?
The last I heard was that the defense and the prosecutors are arguing of how it's going to be transported to the Bodie labs. So the prosecutor wants the evidence to be transferred there via courier. The defense wants it there via third party, like FedEx,
Mm.
which, you know, I can see that, but I think that's kind of that's what's holding it up right now. I read that last week, so maybe they've met a conclusion. I don't know.
From there's a podcast that I listen to, True Crime Obsessed, Patrick and Jillian has become friends with Damien Eccles and his wife, and Jillian talks about this quite a bit here and there on their podcast. And from what she's been saying, this has been a battle that has been going on for years of them trying to get this evidence retested for DNA to, in their mind, exclude them from, we were found guilty, but this will show that we did not do it. But at the end of the day, point being, this argument of how it's to be sent seems like it's been going on for quite a while. So at the end of the day, I'm like, really? That's what's going to hold this up? Is that really the issue as to why the state is kind of dragging their feet?
Well, I believe that argument began with the hearing that was last week. There's been a couple things that have held it up. Number one, the judge was like, from what I read, she said, if you wanted this done, well, pretty much why do it why do it now, and why not do it? Why do it now when you're a free man? And why didn't you do it when you were incarcerated? That was an argument. Um, let's see here. I will say something that's not mentioned very much that held it up. Just 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Please go ahead. K-Dog, while you're looking that up, asked what's a ligature, and James Watson's it could be something used to tie someone. It could be.
It is indeed the knot.
Okay. Okay, K-Dog.
So this is
I'm not familiar with the case. Oh, okay.
So this was a article published February 8th, 2022.
Okay.
22, Damien Eccles, one of the involved West Street case, filed a petition to the Crittenden, that's the name of the county, Crittenden County Court, to allow the recently discovered DNA from the crime scene to be retested. Eccles' attorney asked for the usage of the MVAC method. As they stated, it would provide more accurate results compared to the wet swab method. Okay. However, in his court filing on Tuesday, prosecuting attorney Keith Cressman said there is little evidence that MVAC is scientifically sound method. General quote, a general case law search reveals only 2 cases in which courts mentioned MVAC, and neither case discussed whether MVAC uses scientifically sound methods consistent with forensic practices. The prosecutor also said that the MVAC method would alter the DNA, thus would be in violation of the court's requirement to permanently preserve physical evidence in the violent offense cases. Additionally, which this is kind of the most damning, if you will, Christman said that MVAC raises due process concerns as 2 additional defendants were convicted in the case, but they have not joined Eccles' request. That would be Miss Kelly Jr. and Jason Baldwin. So I don't know why back then in 2022 they didn't join Eccles' request.
Yeah.
Apparently now they have, I guess, but there could be a few reasons of why they didn't. Maybe they had no idea about it. Maybe they're there could be all kinds of reasons why that back then, but they're doing it now. So
Okay. So as you mentioned, once the testing is completed, Bodhi Labs will do a written report to the prosecutors, the defendant's attorneys, Innocence Project. I'm a very big fan of the Innocence Project. They do amazing, amazing work. So I'm really glad that they're involved. I'm hoping that soon after these reports are issued that they're made public. I don't know the legality behind when that information can be released. But in your opinion, not necessarily like what you believe, but in your opinion, what do you think the test results will yield?
I don't think there's going to be much of anything, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to point us in very many directions as far as new leads. I think I don't think I don't think we're going to get a whole lot out of it. I don't think they'll be able to exonerate themselves with this evidence. Personally, I could be wrong.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
What do
I
you
was
think?
super surprised.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I was super surprised when we were messaging about this case, and you're like, yeah, these have been tested, and because to me, I'm thinking, wow, new testing. Did they not do this before or whatnot? So for you to be like, oh, it's been tested, and I mean, yeah, technology changes, but I would like to think that if Damien Eccles and the whole entire team are arguing so hard for it to be tested that it would exonerate them. Because I can't see, like you said, where they're out now, they could easily put it past them. Why, if you're of the mindset that they did it, why, and you did it, why push so hard for this to be retested just to potentially show, yeah, it is conclusive with yours? That just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm kind of in the line of thinking it must exonerate them, because why fight for it this hard at this point?
Yeah. But you could also say the same thing of why didn't they? Because they had this. Why didn't they wait for the new? Because they had a hearing for this. I don't know if it was this exact evidence, but they had gotten DNA test on evidence that they claimed would have exonerated them, and they had a trial set to be in 2000. Well, actually, I don't think it was ever set, but they were awaiting a hearing to get this new evidence tested. And after that, there was going to be a trial, and they said that this evidence would have exonerated them. And a lot of people that think they're guilty says, well, if that's the case, why didn't you just wait to get this for this hearing and then wait for the trial? Instead, you took a guilty plea. You took the Alfred plea. But for their defense, and if you're on death row, wouldn't you? I mean, yeah, because you don't know how long it's going to take either. You have the hearing; it might be years before you get the trial.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're sitting on death row. You're not knowing when they're going to. You're not knowing when the state's going to kill you. So I don't blame them for that necessarily.
So a couple quick things. One, I'm loving the engagement in the chat with this. One, y'all are talking about what you're having for dinner tonight, and yeah, not fair because it all sounds amazing. But let's see. Liz Crochet, welcome. Good to see you. Angie says Casey said she's watching. I don't know who Casey is, but thank you, Casey. Oh, I love this. Corey looks so embarrassed. I absolutely love it. So Mr. Beckham, who said,
actually, hey, you know what? Casey's my sister. She actually Yeah, that's my older sister. She's the one that got me to watch the Paradise Lost documentary back like I was like still in high school, I believe, when I seen it. And she's the one that told me to watch it, and I did. And um,
James wants to know Corey's
yeah,
sister Casey is not Casey Anthony.
Casey, my sister, is worse. Just kidding.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Well,
She's
this is the
probably
last time you guys will see Corey
she's probably
live in this show.
she's probably
So
like, yeah.
Beckham, who one is still running late to be up on camera, and two says he watched Paradise Lost. So he's asking, why did the suspects originally settle for the guilty charge?
Is he talking about the Alfred plea, or is he talking about in 93 or 94, whenever the
I
trial
think
was?
he's talking about 93, 94.
Well, they didn't settle. They were found guilty by a jury. They were pleading not guilty, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kane says bad legal advice. So I'm Beckham. I think you're referring to 93, 94. If you're referring to the Alfred plea, then let us know, because we discussed that a little bit earlier. Yeah, apparently you didn't get a lot of love right there, throwing your sister under the bus, but that's all right. That's all right. Okay.
Well, she knows I love her.
Hi, Casey. I think you're wonderful. I think you're wonderful, regardless of what Corey says. I think you're wonderful. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with this. I hope it gets tested soon, and then from there, I hope the results come back relatively quickly. I don't know. There's a lot of items to be retested. I'm not sure how long something like that takes. I always get so nervous with this stuff because I'm like, is it going to purposely be dragged out? Like, is this something we're going to be waiting months, possibly till 2026 to hear about? I don't know.
Yeah, it could. I have no idea. It could take. It could potentially take years. I mean, but like you said, if they're guilty, why push it? You're already out, right? Why push it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this: if you were guilty and you were pushing it, why do you think you would be pushing it?
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
I was asking you if you were guilty
Oh,
and you were pushing something like this, why do you think you would be?
if I was guilty and in jail, it'd be because I have absolutely nothing to lose. If I was guilty and out, I wouldn't, because at that point I'm already out and I know I did it. I don't want to have it solidified that, you know what, we did have the right one. There's no
Like,
benefit to that.
not, yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one of those cases. Where there's two sides. There's a little bit in the middle, but there's two sides. And I think at the end of the day, regardless of what this new DNA retesting says, there will always be two sides. But I'm curious to see what comes of it. I really am.
The whole thing's muddy, really. Like it's when you look at all sides, it's a head scratcher. It really is.
We have Deborah Novak in the chat. I always thought the three were innocent.
Yeah, we were talking. That's my mom. We were talking about that the other day.
Deborah, hello. Oh my gosh. Welcome. Corey's mom. Oh, I love this. This is like a big family. I love this. I absolutely love this. Oh man, I'll give you a wrench too, Deborah. So yeah, this is okay. Alpine 79, West Memphis 3. Yes, we are updating on the West Memphis 3. We had just gone over the new retesting, and Corey went through all of the items that are going to be going to be retested here through Bodhi Labs. So, Mr. Beckham, someone thinks innocence. I don't quite follow.
Mr. Beckham, why don't you just come on here?
Yeah, very good question. Very good question, Corey. I've been asking this.
You told me you were earlier. And to be honest with you, Mr. Beckham, I'm a little disappointed.
A little disappointed. Corey, I'm disappointed in Mr. Beckham every single day of my life. Welcome to the party. I don't know what to tell you. Liz Crochet and more, who is not the Liz. So in case people are Liz Crochet, it's like, what? One of my friends has a screen name the Liz. If I were guilty, I would run. I mean, I think that kind of goes back, Liz, to a little bit of my thinking in regards to if I were guilty and I knew it, I would just keep my mouth shut. I'm already out. Why push so hard to retest knowing it's gonna secure the evidence that I did it? I don't know. That just doesn't make sense.
I mean, unless you know, like I said, this evidence has been tested twice. If you know these items don't contain your DNA, where others might, and those aren't being tested, but these are, it could just be a bunch of smoke. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very good point. That is
Here's the thing I'll bring up, which, like, by the way, if you're interested in this whole thing, there is a site that has almost everything related to this case on it. All the police reports, documents, audio transcripts. It's called callahan.mysite.com. If you go there, you've got thousands of different police reports, DNA testings, all of that. So if you really want to be investigative about this, and that's another kind of neat thing, I hesitate to say neat or cool with anything about this case, but if you have that investigative itch, there's that website, callahan.mysite.com.
.com. Okay, that's why it's not coming up for me. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put a link in the chat and star it. So if anybody wants to visit that after the show, obviously, you'll have that in there. All right, thank you for sharing.
You know what I want to see tested?
What items would you like to see tested?
So apparently there on, I think it was Michael Moore, on his pants, there was a fluid that it was said that had semen in it. I'd like to see that tested. And as far as from what I can tell, like, I'm not an expert on this case. I just kind of dabble in it here and there. But as far as I can tell, that's never been tested.
Ever?
Not by the prosecution or the defense.
What?
Now, like, take me with a grain of salt. I don't know for sure, but I feel like that would be pretty damning if they tested it. And I have to look more. I've seen on reports, and the doctor, I forget his name. He's the one that did the autopsy report. He said that there is a fluid stain on the pants of Michael Moore that had traces of semen in it. And I've seen a list on that website that I just mentioned from Eccles defense asking to have that tested. But I don't believe it ever was tested. I don't think they sent that in.
Wow.
Because there is a list of what was tested on there, and I don't recall seeing that specifically tested. But I would like, if anybody knows anything about that, look more into that. And so, yeah, why that hasn't been tested, I don't know.
That that blows my mind, because something like that would be so damning and easy with nowadays with DNA technology and testing to either pinpoint it was one of the three men or it does not match any of the three men.
I think that'd be the most exonerated kind of deal right there. You know, if they said, "Well, this isn't any of theirs," I'd be like, "Well, there you go."
Yeah.
You know, that would be enough. If I was part of the jury, that'd be enough to convince me saying not guilty.
Speaking of being part of a jury and holding somebody accountable and held guilty, Beckham, welcome. You are late.
Hey, well, I thought I told you that you guys were gonna do it. I wasn't sure I was gonna come in or not. Sorry,
So
a little bit of
shit.
confusion there.
We have, and I'm obsessed with this name. And I'm Lelia is cool.
What's up, Corey?
That's my niece.
How is her name pronounced?
Leah.
Leah. Oh,
Leah.
God.
Yeah, it's Leah.
The IA's throwing me off. Sorry about that, Leah. Oh my God, I love that. That's so cute. I
love you, Leah. And Casey, I love you if you're watching. I was just kidding about that. You being worse.
You totally bashed her and threw her under the bus. I think the fact that you said she's worse than Casey Anthony, you're never going to live that down. But what do I know?
She knows I'm messing with her. Yeah. But it looked like my Aunt Angie thinks so. Huh?
Leave it to Beckham to come in late and interrupt.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So
that's Dr. Beckham to you.
Case, that's right. Speaking of this case, I watched the documentary last year because Corey, he's like, "Hey, you reached out," and he's like, "You know anything about this case?" I was like, "Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it sounds it kind of has a ringer name to it. It sounds like like we named ourselves going to Vegas. We're called the All Outlaw 9, so kind of has like a good ringer name to it. So I thought it was a completely different case than what it actually was when I first got into the documentary. But it was definitely like it was just it was really it was different for sure. I was trying to remember exactly like why they were just all of a sudden real given the guilty thing right off the bat. And that's what I had asked earlier in the show. I asked a question of what was
are you referring to the Alfred plea, Beckham?
I think so, yeah. Why, like initially it was just all poured on, right? Was the investigation thorough?
Well, it depends who you ask. I think they did an okay job. No outfit is going to be perfect. There's going to be, your mishaps here and there, no matter how big or small something might be. I hope
you're not talking in defense of like somebody like Trooper Proctor there.
I don't know who Trooper Proctor is, Dr. Beckham.
Corey,
come on, man.
Corey.
Are you serious?
To be honest with you guys, I like y'all because I like your personalities. That's why I watch this show. But I'm not a huge like true crime person.
You just went from here to here in my book, and I don't know how you're going to recover from that. But okay, keep going.
Welcome to the show, Corey.
Danny just beats down on you. You're into the West Memphis 3 case, but you're not into true crime. That is one of the biggest true crime cases.
That's like, yeah, I think Corey told me that when I met him back in April.
Which was very pleasant, man. Me and Beckham, we had a very nice lunch. It was with my fiance and her daughter, and he was awesome.
Yeah, man.
So that's if anybody's curious of what Mr. Beckham's like in real life, he's even cooler in person. He's such a cool stand-up guy.
I've been in person with him several times. Corey and I was like, Wow.
As a get used to getting jammed up by Danny now. Now you're gonna feel the wrath when she took the measure of your greatness there down a few notches. I was like, Danny, that's kind of low. You kind of went like you put him up high, then you brought him like really back down to the almost like your lowness went below what your camera measures.
Wow. Wow.
I went from cat status to dog status in her book, huh?
Yeah, pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Okay, Corey, you experienced Beckham for this time. I experienced. Well, that could be taken a whole different way.
What, James? No, I like Tip really well.
That has nothing to do with it. Corey spend a day with him and then message me and say, Danny, I'm enrolling in therapy now because now I understand the pain you go through.
Something.
Yeah, we spent over 3 hours at lunch.
Yeah,
and like,
it was like it didn't even seem
honestly,
like...
we could have spent all day just shooting the shit.
Ugh.
Told you.
And I asked him, I was like, hey, we're about to go to a heavy metal show. You want to come? He's like, sure, I'm good. I was like, all right, man.
Yeah, I'd rather hang out with your sister, Casey Anthony, at this point than you.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my God.
No, unlike Casey Anthony, my sister loves her daughter very much.
Okay, I do have a question about y'all were talking about the reason why you would want to get exonerated after everything or whatever. What would it be for possibly like us, suing, or if it, for example, like if it doesn't put them there and everything, and they're like, oh, you see that, look, that type of response, would it be about maybe not only clearing their name, of course, but
they could sue the state of Arkansas.
Yeah,
I think you're right. And I think if you're guilty, you nailed the hammer on the head or whatever. Hammer the nail on the head. I don't know, but yeah, I think you have a very good point there.
I mean, if they're truly innocent, man, and I think somebody in the chat just typed that they believed that they were innocent. So
well, there's two sides.
There's a lot, yeah, right. But in the case, right? I mean, you're right. And like in the case of like Karen Reed, you had two like mega like cults going against each other. You had the Karen Reed movement going for her, and then you had the other one, the other movement thought that she was guilty, and they were just always banging heads in social media and all kinds of stuff. But of course you're going to have your people that think innocent and then guilty. But I mean, but for this case of its magnitude and its popularity, for the amount of people that have the feeling of innocence, it kind of does really put something out there on it.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really follow the Karen Reed thing. To be honest, I'll even go down further in your book. I listened to y'all's podcast about her. I'm not even sure what that's about. The whole Karen Reed thing.
Corey.
But the toxicity in the guilt versus innocence in this case is very high up there. It's pretty toxic, actually.
So with the Alford plea, though, I'm just double checking, and I don't think that that by taking the plea, let's say, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I just totally butchered that word. Let's say that the evidence does come back in their favor, that no, it's not tied to them. It's tied to another party. One, there's not going to be a retrial. So let's just get that out there. But also, I don't think, based on the little bit that I've researched about the Alford plea, and it might be a state-by-state basis, I don't think that the courts can even overturn the Alford plea. It's one of those, you've already accepted it. It's done. This will clear your name in the eyes of the public. but not on paper. Am I right with that, Corey? Or I don't know if you might not know more about that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think you're mostly right. I believe you're mostly right because I know Eccles has gone on many interviews stating just that. Like they wanted us to take this so we can't ever sue them for whatever. And then it's funny that that's exactly what Beckham brought up, you know.
Right.
So
They could launch a lawsuit. It doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere, or it doesn't mean it's going to get stopped because, hey, you signed the Alford plea. But I don't know. With enough momentum, anything's possible. With true crime now, things are changing.
well,
Maybe in a good way, maybe not in a good way. One could argue, but
you're 100% right. Is you just don't know. For example, the Alford plea itself, I've never known it to be used for something like what happened in their case. Usually, the Alford plea is used so the defendant doesn't have to go to trial.
right, yeah.
So, like, you know, a little flick of the pen, who knows?
Mm.
I don't know. Now I'm kind of going over the quick points on this case.
Beckham, you're still
Man.
on Avatar.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted everybody to get familiar with it because
Well, look at Corey showing off those legs.
Corey, you're just looking all like you're just chilling, man.
I'll tell you why. I'm purposely trying to look like I'm chilling because last time I was on here a year ago, I was in that chair and I kept moving around. I'm like, oh, dude,
What are
settle
you
down.
talking about?
Like, so when I was on here for the Dimebag Daryl thing,
Yeah.
I was doing this number the whole time. So
I
I was
don't
like,
recall you doing that.
yeah, so I was like, don't do that again.
Well, if you're going to show your legs a little bit more, get a better angle. I'd like my viewer numbers, my female viewer numbers, to go up a little bit. So, yeah, help a sister out.
Oh, there's nothing good about. I'm missing part of the leg. Nothing good about these legs.
Oh, thank you, Liz. You're super, super kind. Yeah, K Dog says it's very rare for a plea to be reversed. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
I mean,
thinking
they
this
were
would
kind
be
of
more-
forced into it, man.
The Alfred plea?
Yeah, I think they were forced into everything.
Why do you say they were forced into the Alfred plea?
Mm.
just like you said. I think you said it earlier about how some police conduct their investigations and they kind of put a little bit of too much elbow grease into the interrogation, into their interrogation, and maybe something suspect in the interrogation room. So these guys were young kids, they were young kids, I believe. Do they under the age of 16? Or how old were they? How old were these kids back then?
I know Miss Kelly, I believe he was 17. Eccles
Yes.
was
Okay. So
18. And I'm not sure. I want to say Baldwin was 16, but I'm not 100% sure on that
okay,
one.
yeah, because they do say they do call them three teenagers. So, um, yeah, I mean they were young. Man, I've known a lot of people that have done some dumb things in that 14 to like 18 age range where you're kind of, you're living you leave junior high, you're going through, your body changing and then junior high, and then you're going into high school, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in your head. And I know a lot of people that have like done some crazy things, even crimes, but they just were not in the they were just adolescents, man, to where you can see where police could almost like take advantage in a sense, right? To like kind of strong arm and the what do you call it? In the interrogation itself.
Hey,
We can even we can even go back to the Manson case, where I was surprised with Leslie, where they were trying to make her like just admit something, and You know, so it's just this. It's a style, man. Sometimes it's a characteristic of a detective or whoever's assigned the case. Sometimes, and it's not right by any means. But you know, yeah. So it's almost like they were like kind of like I don't want to say forced, but you know,
But they
they're
were already
talking
in
about.
jail.
Huh?
Yeah, Baker,
They'd already
I
been in
kind
jail
of,
for a long time.
I think you're getting the out from. I think you're kind of getting your timelines just a little messed up because I think you're talking about when they were originally found guilty and what brought them to the trial of their interrogations. The
Yeah, I'm
out
just
from
going. I'm sorry. I'm
the
just
out
going
from
over the.
plea,
I'm just going over the hit points on the
they were
case.
already in
I could
prison.
be. I could be wrong. Sorry,
Beckham,
but
get off
No, dude.
Wikipedia.
No, man, you're cool. When they hit the Alfred plea, and my sister just texted me. She said that Jason Baldwin was 16. But when they hit the Alfred plea, they were in prison for 18 years. So I believe most of the discussion was going on between the prosecution and the defense. And then so like the defense would just tell uh their defendants what is being said, and they took the deal. And if I'm sitting on death row, guilty or innocent, I'm probably just gonna take that deal. Like, yeah, get me the hell out of here. You
Yeah.
know, you know.
Deborah
But
Novak in the chat says the judge told them when they took the plea there was no reversal.
which is another reason of what's taken a long time for this evidence to be retested.
Right, KJ?
That's another factor into it.
Mm. Question, Corey. Do you, and you might not know this answer, who is funding this? Because I can see in the eyes of the police and law enforcement, why spend, because testing is a lot of money. Who's funding this? Because the case is closed.
There's been a lot of people that fund it. I know right now the Innocence Project is doing a lot of the funding.
Okay.
I believe Bob Ruff. I don't know if he's still helping fund it, but I believe he donated a lot to get this tested. I am not certain on that, but I believe that's the case. If you don't know who Bob Ruff is, uh, the best I can tell you is he's a podcaster, and he had a show on Oxygen that had to do with this case. He is I think the show was called like The Real West Memphis 3 or something. He was trying to prove their innocence, and I think he gathered a lot of money to give to the defense. And if you want to look into it, the podcast that I would recommend that are on the side of their innocence is Bob Ruff's podcast. It's season 5 of the Truth and Justice podcast, if for the innocent side. Now for the guilt side, you have the case against with Gary Meese. That's a podcast to listen to if you want to hear details about why he believes they're guilty. But like I said, if you want the facts and just all the documents and researching it for yourself, go to the website that I suggested earlier that I believe you put in the
Yep,
chat.
and I did start.
But I think for the most part right now, it's the Innocence Project. I believe people are donating to the Innocence Project and they're funding it.
Okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Bob Ruff, I am double checking.
Yeah, you see, whenever I first watched it, Corey, the docuseries on Max.
Yeah.
I think I went along with, sometimes if I would do that, I kind of research a little bit, just kind of. So originally they didn't have there was lack of physical evidence, right?
How do you want me to answer this, Danny?
However you want.
Well, I'll say this: there is nothing very damning. There is nothing that I'll tell you what was presented in the trial. You had fibers that matched clothing that was found at the suspects' homes. That was the physical evidence that was at the trial. If you look more into it, there's a little bit more here and there. Like I said, just read the documents, and there's that some confusing things is like this wasn't in the trial, but if you can listen to the whole trial on YouTube. You can listen to Miskelly's trial and Eccles and Baldwin's trial. They're two
Yeah.
separate trials. Miskelly was tried in a different county,
Mm.
and then Baldwin and Eccles were tried together. Now, if you listen to the trial, you hear this is kind of like I don't even know if this is right, but you hear that I believe it's Fogelman, which was the prosecutor of the case. You hear him bring up this medallion thing to the judge. And so the medallion was something that Damien was wearing at the time of his arrest, and they found blood on it and they got it tested. But the prosecution never gave the evidence up to trial because of a couple of different reasons. I'm not 100% sure why, but I've heard it said. But there was blood on it, trace elements of blood on it that had blood similar to one of the victims. I want to say it was. It's not. It was one of the victims for sure, but it was also identical to Jason Baldwin's.
Mm.
Did you say they didn't hand that
Yeah,
information over to the defense?
Not to the defense, to like the defense knew about it.
Yeah, it's
in
tricky.
In the prosecution, but they didn't use it in trial for
They
as
didn't use it.
physical
Okay.
evidence. Yeah, but they brought it up like in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. So and if it's a jury and you hear that, even though you're not supposed to, use that information, and yeah, but
They know what
there's
they're doing.
that. But there's a little bit more physical evidence. I guess like there's hairs found at the crime scene that match Damien's and I believe Jason Baldwin's, but that only goes so far too, because it only goes so far. There's no exact match. It's just a little bit of it's a match, but how many people might have similar hair? A lot. Same, and that's my deal with the fibers. Like the fibers were found in the matched clothes found in the suspects' homes. Well, how many people have matching shirts or just shirts made of similar material? Probably everybody in West Memphis has a similar shirt of cotton polyester material.
Yeah, when you had everybody shopping at the Piggly Wiggly.
Exactly. There's one Walmart in town. There's no. Hey, if there's one Walmart in town.
If everybody shops at the same place, there's
I'm
going to
just
be the
joking,
same
dude.
fibers.
I was like, wait, what's that store name? Piggly? Isn't it the Piggly Wiggly?
Piggly Wiggly. Are you big on the pig? That's their little slogan. There wasn't Amazon back then, so it's not like you could just order whatever clothes you had online. You were all shopping at the same
Yeah,
spot.
you were. It was the late 80s, early 90s. So
one of the documents, Corey, going off of what you said that you had sent me to look at, and I'm blanking which one, but my response to you in that was it was the wording of one of the reports, because was it in regards to some of the hair testing, or I forget, but it was the wording in the report was very vague, and I was just like, okay, is this consistent with testing, one of their hairs? Is that consistent with, it could be 1 in 20 people it's a match, or 1 in, hi Selena, 1 in, 1 million people? I don't know. It was just very vague. I'm like, what standard are they testing against? What's the percentage that they're showing? Do you remember the message I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, it's like it said somewhere in there, like in layman's terms, like you can't use this to strictly identify that this is exactly him.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, that's pretty much what the report said. Like, yeah, it's a match, but you can't strictly single out him being the owner of this hair. Now, with that being said, this whole Terry Hobbs thing, they did that to him, which I feel like is kind of messed up.
Right.
Because they had, and honestly, it probably was his hair. the children were, his son was involved, and the children, I believe, were at his house a little bit before that. So it's definitely a very strong likely chance that it was a second degree transfer.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
I went in to watch it, documentary, did a little bit of research, watched it, thinking there was going to be an indefinite answer. Like I was like, I was going to be,
No.
it was going to be a new, it was going to be a new case, and there was going to be a, by the end of it, I would know who did it, maybe a why, or I would know how, who, and maybe a why, and there was none of those three. Well,
Beckham, you know what I want you to do, man? I want you to, I mean, if you want to, but
be nice to Danny. Show up on time. All right, but continue. Go ahead.
I want you to listen to Jesse Miskelly's confession. You can find it on YouTube. There's a lot of people say he was coerced. Personally, I think there is a little suggestion on the interrogator's part. A little bit. I'll give him that. But for the most part, a lot of people say he was coerced and that he's retarded and this and that and third. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I knew all kinds of people that were similar to
Did you say
Jesse.
retarded?
Yeah, that's
That
what
was
his
the
defense.
term back then that was used.
That's when his defense attorney bid him or whatever had said in court. Jury, my client is retarded. He said that.
That would not be the word that we would use today, but yes, that was Corey's right. That was the term used in the trial. So,
but watch the confession and tell me if you feel like he's making up this confession or if you feel like he is recollecting a little bit in his memory. Because when I watch it, honestly, I feel like there is just a little bit of suggestion, but I also feel like he's recalling some things.
Just like in the movie Stand By Me.
Oh, I love that movie.
Okay, where you have a similar background. You have these kids, right? Small, industrialized town. A couple of them have good homes. A couple of them don't. They're just out being kids, and they come up on a dead body, right? In the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. What if they came up on the crime scene and they were just curious, looking and stepping on stuff and.
Well, that wouldn't match their alibis they used.
It would. Oh, okay. No, I'm just trying to remember that. I just remember leaving like, well, nothing solved here. There was nothing definite.
Right. I'm shocked you went into it for that. Look you're getting Selena. Okay, this is Selena. I see you guys in the chat. This is Selena. Yeah, I'm shocked you went into it thinking that you were going to walk away and be like,
I did. I was like, okay, it has a really catchy name. I'm like, man, it's going to be something really good. It's going to be a good case. I was excited. And then I kind of was looking into it and I was like, oh man, it's got kids involvement and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll keep watching. And then, like I said, there's a crime. I thought I was going to get the who in the end and the why in the end, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's all muddy, man. It's very convoluted and so many things. It's just it's messy. Like I said, go to that website and do the research and yeah, that's the best that I can say. But guys, unfortunately, I gotta go.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, I got family in town and I gotta go spend some time with them. But I appreciate you having me on. Beckham, is it good to see you again, brother?
Yeah, man, good to see you, buddy.
Thank you so much, Corey.
Angie, Karen, Casey, Leah, Mom, I love you. Y'all take it easy.
All right. Good night, Corey. Thank you.
Take care, Corey.
How do I get on?
I'll boot you off. All right. Kick from studio. All right. So Corey Novak, everyone. Again, thank you, Corey, for joining. Yeah, this is one of those cases where there's a lot to talk about. And if y'all want Corey back for us to do a kind of deeper chat into this, by all means, let me know and we'll make it work. I would love to have Corey back. Anytime Corey's here over Beckham is a good day. But
that's what I told you. I was like, I won't come on. I'll just be in the chat.
You weren't going to come on late. Time anyway.
I was not late. I was giving y'all the time.
I love your spin on it. But yeah, this is one of those cases that I'm all for. Just kind of, we can do maybe like a West Memphis 3 and just kind of, let's just chat about it and whatever comes of it, comes of it. Yes, have him back, please. Karen, I would love to have him back. Corey he is awesome. He is awesome on camera, honestly. And I'm not just saying that because y'all, his family's here, but no, Corey's great. Corey's absolutely great. Yeah, so we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Hey, Russell, good to see you. You just missed an hour with Corey. So definitely watch on replay for sure. Next time. Yeah, it would be good to have Corey back next time with pants, though. Oh, for Christ's sakes. He's awesome in real life, too. I'm sure. Beckham got the pleasure of meeting him in person recently. I got to chat with Corey, outside of YouTube, and yeah, awesome guy, awesome guy. So y'all's the Novak family, y'all are very lucky. Corey's a great guy for sure. So I would like to get the how, where, and when. Yeah, we can certainly talk a lot more about this. Yeah, let's have Corey back. We'll plan something. We'll have him back and kind of deeper dive into this for sure. Did I hear Beckham is going to cover West Memphis 3? Please, not even close. I'm watching the Gilgo Beach documentary on Netflix. Let me know if it's worth a watch, Renee. You know how I feel about Netflix documentaries, but if it's worth a watch, I will check it out. I'm not sure. Capone, CrimeCon 2026 is going to be announced this year when it's in Denver next month. And so many rumors are could it be here? Could it be there? But rumors are Vegas. I don't know.
I think, I know that I'm Capone. I think that I might be going for WrestleMania.
Oh, right. Beckham, you said that. Yeah. Yeah. You guys link up for sure. All right, so I know we kind of did things a little bit out of order because I was trying to be respectful.
I wasn't late, Danny.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. I was trying to be respectful of Corey's time, so we kind of jumped right into the West Memphis 3 updates. So let's just rewind a second and go over some just quickly administrative stuff. Dating After Dark book club for August is announced. I did a post and check it out if you guys want to be a part of it. I'm just pulling up the exact name. So it's Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Anger, the complete and unabridged legendary underground classic of Hollywood's darkest and best kept secrets. So if you want to be a part of that, the last Thursday of the month, make sure to, my book is already en route. I am very excited. One of my coworkers, we were talking about it. She has the book and said it was awesome as well. So that will be that. Last night, if y'all missed Cheryl McCollum from Zone 7, go back and watch. It was a blast having her on. She wears many hats in the field that she does. I don't know how she has free time. I don't know how she sleeps, but
some people don't require much sleep. I wish I was that person.
Yeah, I used to be that person.
Some people can function on 3, man, 3 hours. It's how do you do it? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cheryl does, crime scene analyst. We talked several cases last night, including Karen Reed. And she gave her opinion on that, which, from somebody who works in the field to give their opinion on this case, Loved it. Loved it. As well as many other things we talked about. So definitely go back and check that out. The feedback from y'all has been amazing for that. I've seen the comments on the video. I've seen the DMs and emails you guys have been sending me. Y'all love her. And I'm so glad because, yeah, I love her too. Cheryl's amazing. So check that out if you missed it. Next week, there will be another really, really cool and amazing guest on Danny After Dark. I have not announced that yet. I will be doing that this weekend. Y'all will not want to miss it. Stay tuned. It is going to be a name that you recognize. And if you don't, yeah, no, shame on you. Shame on you, because this is an OG in the podcast world. An OG. I'll put it that way. So stay tuned for that. CrimeCon is in Denver next month. I will have a bit of an announcement more on that soon, but stay tuned.
What's taking you so long in the announcement?
What's taking so long in the announcement? You know, we'll see. We'll see. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Beckham is antsy, and yeah, but he knows. He knows. We'll see. Is your special guest Paul? No, Capone. Paulcast is not my guest next week. I actually want to get people that attract viewers, not push them away, to be fair. But I did ask Paul if he wanted to join us tonight, and of course he said no. So, all right, Beckham, you are here. There's a few things to talk about. Before I forget, I want to give a plug and a shout out to friend of the show and friend in real life, Jimmy, Auntie Deb. Y'all know him. You love him from the Karen Reed trial. Well, just because the Karen Reed trial is over, that doesn't mean that Auntie Deb is stepped away from YouTube. No. Like, taking YouTube by storm with amazing interviews with amazing people. Right now, Auntie Deb is looking at the Adelson case and having guests on about that case. That's something that I kind of talk about and sprinkle in here and there when there's an update. But if y'all want to deep dive that, go over to Auntie Deb's YouTube channel, because he is, totally diving into this, which I'm so happy to see him do that, because there's a lot to this case. And there's still Donna Adelson who needs to stand trial. So check out Auntie Deb for that. All right. I just want to make sure I got that in there. All right, let's get started. So Jeffrey Epstein. So there has been a lot of talk about the Epstein files, and this has been going on for weeks. What happened this week is the House Oversight Committee, so on Tuesday, right, subpoenaed the Justice Department for the Epstein files. Specifically, the committee's subpoena to the Justice Department is seeking all documents and communications tied to the investigations of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that led to their indictments in Manhattan in 2019 and 2020. So it's also seeking records stemming from an earlier investigation of Epstein in South Florida that ended in a 2007 non-prosecution agreement. The subpoena issued to the Justice Department is set on August 19th for the deadline for it to hand over its records on Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Do we think that's going to happen? Wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. But what they're saying is, quote, the committee may use the results of this investigation to inform legislative solutions to improve federal efforts to combat sex trafficking and reform the use of non-prosecution agreements and or plea agreements in sex crime investigations. Documents related to the department's investigation and prosecution of Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell are relevant to the committee's investigation. Endpoint. So just a few other notes with that. The Justice Department's lawyers could also seek certain privileges, such as executive privilege or law enforcement privilege, in an attempt to keep the documents shielded. If Congress is not satisfied with the Justice Department's response, it could seek to enforce the subpoena by voting to hold Bondi in contempt of Congress, though it would ultimately be up to the department that she leads to decide whether to pursue a criminal prosecution. So we all know that's just not going to happen, right? The subpoena is also seeking communications surrounding Epstein's 2019 death, as well as communications between the Justice Department and the Office of the President. So there's a lot of subpoenas going on. In addition, there was another subpoena issued for documents or testimony from several high-profile figures to see whether they were investigated or not. I mean, there are a lot of names. You guys can look that up. In all, 11 subpoenas were issued for documents and testimony covering 2 decades of Epstein investigations. So there are some depositions that are scheduled for certain individuals, one of them being the Clintons, from August 19th to August 19th to October 14th. So stay tuned for that. But it's kind of, I don't know, Beckham, how you feel about this, but it seems like we're going to do all this to make it public, but it could still be shielded too. I don't know. It seems like a lot of just blah.
It's all mumbo. To me, it's just all mumbo jumbo. I don't know.
Fair.
I've stopped even paying attention. I know that Maxwell came out. 2 things this week. Early on in the week, Maxwell supposedly spoke about Trump. She every time she witnessed Trump, that he was he acted accordingly, gentlemanly, and let's where she's being held or transferred to, and what and that. Of course, the inmates where she's going to be supposedly housed in going forward are not happy about her arrival at all. So, I don't know. I just think it's a lot of smoke in the mirrors type of thing, man. Yeah, I don't even know if we'll ever get anything definite.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like who's on it and who's not on it, because we don't really know, right?
Right.
So it's just a big old blob of a mess. We know something was not right. You have all these victims, so we know that things occurred. We know what occurred. The main villain in all this is deceased now. We know there was a trickery to that. Oh, earlier this week too, the extra hour of video that was supposedly taken away from it was found, and it's like you can see there was another person, or like part of the shoulder and part of the arm extended out a little bit into where you could see it. Again, it's just a big old blob of a mess, man.
If I recall, what they're saying about that video is it's somebody who works there carrying laundry, like the prison jumpsuit laundry, and it's like
no, because it's not a what do you call it when you everyday occurrence or something,
right?
Yeah,
right.
So it's what all of a sudden the one time that they're going to do something out of the ordinary, it happens to be that time. No,
exactly.
The public is not fooled.
I think they think we are.
Well, I get it. I just think they're just hiding stuff. They don't want stuff to come out. But
100%. And part of the reason why we're talking about this, because if you're thinking, y'all, like we're never going to get the information. You're right. So. We're not. But going back to what Renee was saying about Ghislaine, she's all chatty. She's trying to make a deal to get out early. And she's we talked about this a bit last week. She's taking advantage of this situation with all this talk about the Epstein files. Like, okay, I'll step in and try to get something out of it. And if she does, it's just fucked. To put it simply, it's just absolutely fucked. We'll see what happens.
And also, what kind of information does she know beyond that?
Mm-hmm.
If she was into the spy world, what information is she holding?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking a lot of people are not happy right now that she might be speaking. And
yep, exactly.
we'll see what comes of it. We saw what happened to Epstein. And for those of you who think, no, Danny, you're wrong. He killed himself in prison. No, he didn't. So, yeah, we'll see. Zach, hi, welcome. Good to see you. Just gave a
Zach?
plug for the book club coming up for this month. James Watson, I saw your comment. Of course, I have been following Erin Patterson. If that's something y'all at some point want me to do a show on, I'm more than happy to. It's still going on, but it's wild. And I have been following it very deeply for quite a while. We just haven't talked about it here. It's based in Australia. If you guys want more, let me know. Do a quick Google and I can make it happen. Hey, Shelly, good to see you. So we'll keep you posted. And I think if anything, there's not going to be an update on the Epstein files, but an update on Ghislaine. And we will keep you posted on that. Anything else about that, Beckham, or you think we've kind of...
No, I mean, I just, like I said, I don't, it would, is it going to be anything big? No, I don't think there'll be anything shock related or shocking. No.
Yeah. All right. Which one should we do next? All right, let's get this one out of the way, and then we'll go to Trooper Proctor, because, back in the news. All right, so this case, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I kind of read about it. We have not talked about it here. And I really want to know what you guys think about this, because what kind of sparked my interest in this was last week we talked about Morgan Geyser from the Slender Man case, the crime she committed as a child, and she's going to be released. Yes, in kind of a facility where she's monitored, but at the same time, there's this whole issue of, is she reformed? She did this deed as a child. There's a whole lot to it. So this case is another example of that, but on a slightly different level. But I want to hear what you guys think. Let's see. Hey, Auntie Mimi. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So the name I'm talking about is David Brom. So he is 53 years old, and he has now just been released from prison on work release. So if you're thinking, who is he? In 1988, 16-year-old, so I'm going to repeat that, 16-year-old David murdered his mother Paulette, his father Bernard, his younger sister Diane, and his younger brother Richard. He used an axe to kill his whole family. The bodies were discovered by police after a friend reported to the police that David had called him and said that he killed his entire family. David, at the time of trial, pled not guilty by reason of mental illness. During David's trial, 4 different psychiatrists testified for the prosecution, 2 of them stating that David was not legally insane at the time of the crime. The defense team presented a psychiatrist that stated that David did not understand that killing his parents and siblings was wrong. Ultimately, David was found guilty of the murders, so he was sentenced to consecutive life sentences. So if you're thinking, okay, if that's where it ends, Danny, why is he being released? Well, a recent law removed life sentences for juvenile offenders. The law allows juvenile offenders sentenced to life to be fully eligible for parole after 15 years behind bars. So under the old law, David would have had to have served a minimum of 51 years and would have then been eligible for parole in 2037. However, due to the new law change, he became eligible for parole retroactively as of 2018. So at a parole hearing this past January, the board members approved on a 5-1 vote a plan that would allow David to be granted work release. This is a step before a full release. So the Minnesota Department of Corrections records has that David was assigned to work release. He now resides in a halfway house and remains under supervision and GPS monitoring. So what do we think about that? Beckham, what are your thoughts?
I mean, again, this is like a crime, and when committed when he was young, and it's just how there's always a couple of things. It's how the law's written, and then there's also up to the judge, right? The judge is going to have the final say. But considering the crime, and I don't think the guy's right, and I think he should be left in life. I think it's a life case, but that's me. I don't know if there's anything he could. I mean, there's something definitely wrong with him, so I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, this is one where
that's a crazy. Yeah, I mean, you murdered your parents and your family. I mean,
think of, not that if he had murdered them with a gun, it would have been, at the end of the day, he took the lives of his entire family.
Yeah,
but with an axe,
yeah, it's even
that's
worse.
not just one swing and they're gone. This was a very violent attack on every single one of his family members. With each swing of that axe, he was taking the life of each family member. And it's not like the movies. It is not like the movies where it's one or two swings and they're down. Like, no, this was a very violent and horrific death for each one of his family members. And I just want to name them again: Paulette, Bernard, Diane, Richard. They're the ones that lost their lives here. At the end of the day, is he a risk to society? Again, he was 16 when he committed these crimes. If he was 2 years older, there wouldn't be a question about this. But because he was underage at the time, he gets this new shot at parole. The parole board, again, there was a 5-1 vote. So on the one hand, Beckham, you were absolutely right when you're saying it's the way that the law is written. And the law is written that led to David being released under a work release program, and he is in a halfway house and he does remain supervised. But
no,
would I feel comfortable if he lived next door to me? No, I would feel very uncomfortable. I don't know. And then I know, there's the argument that, and that's Beckham, that's one thing that Paul always, again, Paul being from Canada, different type of legal system, would always say to us when we did our Manson Saga show, that reform, there's this big talk about prison reform. If that's the goal, isn't that what is supposed to happen here?
No, there's no way. You can't come back from that, man. Come on.
Oh, I agree with you. With you.
No. Well, and that's what I was saying. I mean, you're talking about the crime, and then all the way I get it, how the laws are written and based on the state and whatever, and then of course the judge is the end. But no, not this kind of crime. No.
Yeah.
Was it, maybe if it was like a robbery or something, and he served his time, then maybe that kind of thing. But like, no, not taking a whole weapon to your family. And I'm not, like, you're right. Like you said, it wasn't just a quick thing. It was can't even imagine, but
yeah. Russell, Capone. Was he tried as an adult? I don't know. I didn't do like a full deep dive into how he was tried. I don't have that answer. Sorry. I just don't want to give any misinformation. Kane, I don't know this case. I honestly did not know it either until I kind of came across, when I was researching Morgan Geyser for the Slender Man, and then this kind of came up tangentially with it in a different way. And it was like, oh, if you're interested in this, you might be interested in this. And I'm like, oh, what is this case? And then I was reading it a little bit and I was like, wow. It's just shocking. And Beckham, I fully agree with you. I'm curious. and again, I didn't do like a full deep dive, but I'm thinking in regards to, for example, relating it to the Menendez brothers, where they killed their parents, but their entire other family stayed supportive of the brothers and were very, very outspoken to the media about that they do support Lyle and Eric. I didn't fully see that with David Brom, though, in regards to he killed his immediate family. In regards to his extended family saying, we still support him in this. I didn't see that. And I think that kind of says a lot. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So again, he is in Minnesota because the Minnesota Department of Corrections have the record that he was, in fact, put into a work release program. So,
without getting political, it's a blue state.
Beckham.
The laws are different.
Laws are different in every single state.
But I'm just saying, man. It makes sense.
So, do with Beckham, do with that what you will. But at the end of the day, this was, again, a new law that was put into effect. So it made him eligible retroactively for parole. And, on the one hand, I have my feelings about it. I'm not personally tied to it. So at the end of the day, it does not personally affect me. So I just want that out there, because who the fuck am I? I don't, nothing in regards to this case. I do take a step back and think, okay, putting feelings aside, board members approved 5-1. So what they have access to in their record of what he's done behind bars up until this time, I don't know, but they do. So I kind of wish more information about that part was released.
Definitely would give you a little bit more clarity. It would definitely give you a little bit more clarity. But when you go into the case, you're like, oh my God, how did this person needs to be institution? Let's just be honest. It needs to be institutionalized. Needed to be something somewhere along the lines we talked. Early on, there was probably signs. We always get that. There was probably early signs, that kind of thing. And he acted out and did what he did at that age, right? And then it's going to be really hard for me. And then you can also say, well, what about like the Manson people? They did these horrific crimes little older, but still in that younger age bracket, right?
Yeah.
They went through the whole course of life in prison, and they've done things, and they got educated, and they did this, and they helped some people. You know what I mean? So it's, like you said, if we had a little bit more clarity on it, it could give you a little bit more of an insight. But I don't know, man. To do it at that age, there had to have been signs before, but who knows, right?
Yeah, it's tough. The tough part for me, I'm murdering any family member.
When you analyze these cases, like it's hard, because you'll feel one way sometimes, right? You're like, oh man, this is how I feel. But then you're like, wait a minute, I felt different, similar circumstances, but I felt different on this other case, right? And sometimes that happens, right? But I mean, there are similarities here, like with some of the cases we've covered and talked about. Oh man, but like this was, and like we don't know, we don't really know the truths behind it. We don't know what the family dynamics were either.
That's exactly what I was getting at, Beckham. That's exactly what I was getting at.
I mean, it just goes back to your point about, if there was a little bit more clarity on some of the information, then maybe we would be able to make a better assessment.
This wasn't, not that any one murder of any of the family members would not be okay under any circumstances. You see unfortunately, we see cases of younger people under 18 committing homicide, murdering a parent or both parents, but not their siblings. Or we see it on the other side where they murder one of their siblings, but not their parents. And not that you can make any type of reasoning for it, but in their mind, there's a reason for it that, again, not that you agree with it or condone it, but it's like you can, in their mind, it was rational for a reason, and it gets brought out at trial, and you can follow a completely irrational way of thinking. In this case, he took the lives of all 4 of his family members. So you going back to like the family dynamics, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Both his parents that he killed and his siblings. It doesn't make sense. The only case that just quickly pops to my mind is Amityville in regards to DeFeo, who killed his entire family. But again, those cases against killing every single family member, it's not as common. I don't know. We'll see how he does. And being out on work release, but again, I just wish there was more from the parole board as to what he's done in all of this time since. But
just add a little bit more, clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shelly in the chat, y'all are, let's see. So Shelly, look, I'm going to El Coyote, meet up with Scott Michaels from Dearly Departed. We all know Scott Michaels from Dearly Departed for an event down the street from Cielo. Interesting. That sounds fun, Shelly. Tell him we all said hello. Tony Stewart, tell him, give a shout out. James Watson, I love Scott Michaels. You can tell him that too. Jim from Canada loves you. All right, so James Watson is being a total fangirl right now, and I'm loving seeing that. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, Russell, Amityville horror guy. Yes, exactly. That's the first one I thought of too. I always thought Beckham tried to not pay for parking so he didn't have to tip. I love that. Beckham, what are you doing right now?
I'm getting a drink. Sorry.
Interesting that you leave to get a drink when James Watson is making fun of you. All right. Yeah. So if there's any more that comes of this case, I will keep y'all posted. But yeah, I came up and I just kind of thought, like I said, covering Morgan Geyser last week with Slender Man and kind of seeing this, I thought it was kind of worth seeing. What do y'all kind of think about it? I fangirl every time Scott comments on one of my posts on Facebook. That's amazing. James, I love that for you. I really do. It really makes my heart happy. So last case of the night, Trooper Proctor, who Corey Novak has no idea who that is. Beckham, first of all, we need to talk about the respect we lost for Corey Novak for not knowing who Trooper Proctor was, right?
I didn't. He had told me that when I met him. He's like, actually, I don't really get it. I'm not really into true. I was like, wait a minute, what? But you're like always suggesting that I look at a case or read up on a case or, movies and stuff, entertainment. And, and I was kind of floored by that when he told me that in person. I was like, what? Wait, I was like, wait a minute. But then you watch this and you do this and you do that. He's like, oh, I just like you guys. And so I was kind of like, okay.
I mean, that was the sweetest thing. On the one hand, for him to be like, I just like you guys. I'm not into true crime. Like, that's so sweet. On the other hand, I'm like, you're not into true crime. What? Danny quit sucking up to James Watson. Oh, Tony Stewart is definitely not sucking up. It's more of admiring how he fangirls from a distance. Like, that's funny. James Watson, Corey said his sister's worse than Casey Anthony. Now Capone wants to date her. Yeah, that will never be let down. I guarantee. Who was it earlier in the chat that said at Christmas time it's going to be brought up? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. That's like, to me, the whole like comment of the night. Corey. God. Oh, there's going to be hell to pay for that, I'm sure. But all right, Trooper Proctor. All right, so Tony Stewart, listen up because you've never heard of the Karen Reed trial. So former Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor, he was in court this week. Couple of things. One, he is appealing his termination from the state police. Oh, fuck's sake. On Monday, he appeared virtually for a hearing. He appeared with his attorney, Daniel Moynihan. Former Trooper Proctor, did not speak at the hearing. Attorney Moynihan stated that Proctor's firing lacked, quote, just cause, end quote, and that he has been treated unfairly compared to other troopers. Specifically, his legal team plans to pursue that the state police lacked a legitimate reason to terminate Proctor. They also plan to pursue Proctor's punishment was disproportionate in that he was treated differently from other troopers who have faced disciplinary action. Attorney Moynihan stated that he requested from state police, quote, 269 disciplinary files, end quote. However, they've only received 5 to date. So that's the first part of Trooper Proctor being in court this week. Beckham, what do you think about this?
It was just a fashion show for him, really. He was wearing some designer $120 sunglasses and leaving and entering the courthouse.
That was for Tuesday. We didn't get to that yet.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, that's all right. This one was virtually, and
I don't know, man.
About
Everybody,
his
like,
termination.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he does not need to be in law enforcement. That's very adamant. Like, that's what we've discussed. That's how we feel. At least I do.
I'm right there
You know,
with you.
you suck at your job. You suck at your job, dude. Get over it.
You're still an Avatar, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Anyway, so I a long time ago, a few months ago, I saw a news report where there was an ex, district attorney in the area, and they say, well, when this happens, usually the officer most of the time gets their job back. And I was like, what? And then he gave his reasons, whatever, right? You let the case blow over, you let this happen, this and this happen. They do this all the time, whether it's a local PD, a state trooper, a state whatever, a sheriff, whatever, right? Deputy. Yeah, I mean, this district attorney, it might have been a current district attorney just not working in the area where he was doing the show from. But yeah, that's what he talked about. He's like, most of the time they do this. They just kind of wait a little bit, then they file not a grievance, what do you call it?
An appeal.
An appeal, yeah. And then he's like, man, he said the number pretty high. I think he said like 90% of the time they get their job back, or they get to it. Yeah, and I was thinking, wow, I was like, wow, really? I was like, man. But yeah, and it was, of course, they were discussing it because of the Karen Reed trial. But this was a few months ago. It's been, it's before the second Reed trial started. So somebody touched upon that and asked a question about it. And that's what that district attorney was saying. And I was like, wow. He's like, and then they on the newscast, they had two district attorneys. One, I think, was current, one was retired. And he was he looked at the other guy. He was like, hey, Terry, you know how it goes. You know that they filed an appeal, and they usually get it waived, and they're back on the force within like whatever amount of time. So, and the other guy like shook his head at him like, yeah, you're right. And I was just like, what? It was this whole time we were just talking about him and and how the case was handled. So it was during that time. And so it was definitely before the second trial started.
Yeah.
And it was the time when we were discussing the end of the first one. It was around that time period. So, when he said the number, like 90% or something like that, they get their jobs back. I was like, what? Because I don't know, right? I mean, but I was just like,
Right.
wow. Yeah. So I don't know, Danny. It's like we've covered the collapse of the Canton Police Department.
Yep.
Right, during this investigation, and it could be like, hey, is this how you guys do your job? And it could touch other cases. We've covered all that, and to us, we know what that answer is. I know you agree with me, or you agree how I feel. I agree. We
Mm-hmm.
agreed on the same. We're on the same page. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah. I can't imagine the public in Massachusetts being okay with this. I mean, at the end of the day, we do not have a say. It's our tax dollars, but we do not have a say. It is scary to
Right.
think that how he handled this case and then how he's handled other cases, people could walk for Brian Walsh, could walk for murdering his wife. And we all, again, innocent until proven guilty, but we all know he did it. And he could walk because of how the Mass State Police, including Trooper Proctor, who worked this, handled this case. It's scary. It is absolutely scary. And if you're like taking what happened during trial 1 and then the interview that he did, Trooper Proctor chose to do this interview, and it aired the night after the second trial where Karen Reed was acquitted. Where he says, and Beckham, we've talked about this. He said on camera, I handled that case the way I do every single case. That's a problem. That is a big fucking problem. He also said of his fellow coworkers, they handled that case the way they do all cases. Again, that's a big problem. That is a big problem.
And then, like, the thing, man, to me, the dagger in this whole thing was the shoes. Remember in the court with the shoes?
Yeah.
And they had the wrong dude. They had the same right shoe. How can you have two right shoes or left shoes? What I don't know what
Right.
the same direction of the foot. Where I don't know whether it was the right or the left, but they had this. And then like you had the two. You had one shoe, and then they compared the other shoe, and then
Didn't
like,
match what was in the picture.
Yeah, it's not the same shoe that was in the picture. And okay, that's it. That was literally. I honestly think when that happened, that's when it solidified the case for the jury. During his what was his name? His boss.
Bukaki. Gary Buchanan?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's been a while now. So yes,
Yeah.
I'll
never forget these names, but yeah.
Dude, I'm serious. I think that's when it was like. Well, I think that's when the jury was like, that's it, man. This is too wild.
Well, there was a million things.
Well, I know, but I think that's when it really started to set in. I mean, literally, it was right there.
There was also the evidence of the broken tail, like where I'm blanking who it was on the stand.
The whole shoulder thing could be a little. I'm sorry, Danny. The whole shoulder thing could be a little confusing, and the whole because they were not right, and none of the evidence to me matched anyway on all sides. So that could have been a little bit confusing, but the shoe thing was not.
Mm-hmm. And Cheryl McCollum last night on Danny After Dark, who is a crime scene analyst, said,
I need to go back and watch that. I watched some of it, but I gotta go finish.
I want to.
No, but I need to like finish. I started it. I need to watch through it.
Did you get to the part where she talked about the Karen Reed case?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, so she said, when is it that a lead detective does not go to the crime scene? That does not happen. They always go to the crime scene. They have to. Trooper Proctor didn't. Documentation. He didn't, we can
Oh,
get into the
horrible.
first responders.
We talked about how horrible.
Trooper Proctor didn't document properly, or if
That was-
at all,
right.
he broke chain of custody.
Yep.
The crime scene was not secured. This was your case.
There's
Trooper
so
Proctor,
much.
This was your
You're right.
case.
There is so much. The investigation is so aired that there's so much to forget. There's so much that you're gonna forget, right? There was a couple things you would remember more.
Mhm.
There's so much that you forget, like, oh, that's right, they did that, or they didn't do that, or whatever. Yeah.
So Beckham, with those several things we just said, which were just a small list of examples of how Trooper Proctor handled this case incorrectly, let me go back to what we just talked about. Trooper Proctor's attorney stated that Proctor's firing lacked, quote, just cause, end quote.
Oh my, yeah, I don't. Well, they have to have a reason, but
Mhm.
that begs me to question, Danny, what is their yearly evaluation process? Everybody gets evaluated for their work every year.
Mhm.
You have one, I have one, everybody has one, right?
Mhm.
And it's usually based on merit and based on statistical information, but also how you do. There's various things that are covered, right? But how if it
I think I know that answer, Beckham, because who
Yeah.
was his supervisor?
There you
Trooper Buchanan.
right.
So
That was my point. That was my point. Yeah, exactly.
And there it is. I'm sure after this year things might be a little different, but anyway, to me, part of what Attorney Monahan is saying is that, well, he was treated unfairly compared to the other troopers. So which I still felt the others got off very lightly. They should have been reprimanded more, and I stand by that. But I hope this opens the door for the others to be punished or reprimanded is the better word, reprimanded more for how they handled this case, because we're seeing how it affected the Brian Walsh case, how they searched the phone without the proper, or the iPad, excuse me, without the proper warrants. There's just so many other, it blows my mind.
There's a lot of inconsistencies, and they're damned inconsistencies, because these are not small little misses, man. These are not like, and the magnitude that the correctness of carrying out the investigation of these cases, and they're on a different plane.
100%. There are severe consequences. I mean, every job, if you mess up, there's going to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can work on it or fix it or whatever, right? Or, based on the evaluation things, but not at this level. I mean, I'm not saying not at this level, but what I mean to say, not at the level of inconsistencies that they had in their investigation. I want to say because you had multiple people involved.
Yep. I mean, we all knew he was going to appeal. We all knew it. It's his.
You said it right off the bat. You remember you saying right off the bat.
But it's scary to think that like back in what you
were
saying.
Well, it's scary when I heard that the district attorney talking about it. I mean, remember, that's not my world. I don't know. You learn if you work in this, and if you work in the field, you're more familiar with it. I don't know what their yearly evaluations are about or whatever, and that kind of thing, and if you can appeal and I haven't, I'm not in their world, but so to hear those two district attorneys, one retired, one current, and they both agreed with each other, I was floored.
Yeah.
Let's hope they're wrong.
I hope so too.
But I don't know. Maybe this time the council or whoever's going to make the decision will make a a statement out of it, or make it a example out of it, right?
I mean, I feel like the way he handled this case, it's so bad it speaks for itself.
Well, you had somebody that's in that world on your show last night.
Yeah, Cheryl McCullum. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So she magnified a little bit more for everybody.
Yeah, and it just, there, like Beckham, with what you were saying, there are real life implications here. Let's say, God, and I hope it's wrong, but let's say they do take him back. There are people who have profound implications. People who committed crimes could be walking the streets because of how he and his team did their job improperly. That's scary. That is.
I just know that if I was involved in an investigation with this guy, I would never turn my back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be freaked. I would be like freaked out about it.
Yeah. Look, okay, y'all in the chat. Where's my star? Where's my star? The only stars I gave right now tonight so far are links for what, at what Corey was saying for the West Memphis 3 case. Calm down, y'all. Corey gets the star for verbally saying that his sister Casey is worse than Casey Anthony. That's the star of the night.
What was that about? I missed that part of the show.
Capone says, wouldn't it be easier for people in jail to get out if he got fired, though?
Again, that's not my world. I don't know how that would work. You would
At the end of the day, the ball's already in motion. So I get what you're saying. We
don't really know yet. We'd have to see the ramifications of it, I think.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, to me, it's just so damn, like, even if he it's horrible. It's horrible. But that's an excellent.
Dude, what if the council thinks about it like this? Well, it was Karen Reed. It wasn't that bad. Let's just give him his job back. Dude. She got, but again, we go back to O'Keefe losing his life,
mm-hmm.
and nobody cares.
It's heartbreaking. That's one of the things Cheryl said last night. His family doesn't have an answer.
Right.
His family had to go through this all this time because of how the investigation.
Dude, if I was his family, like if I was his close, like a close family member, and this happened in my family, you definitely be prepared. There'd be assassins ready to go.
But Capone, he was terminated.
He was, but he's able to appeal. But that's what I was talking about. Is that they had this from Massachusetts? They had in a county somewhere on a news TV show, not like a podcast or a documentary. It was like a live show or type of thing, right? News. And one guy was current, he was still active. One was retired, and I caught it, and it said, yeah, somebody asked the question right live or something, or they brought it up, or the newscaster brought it up, and it was before the second trial started. So, and again, like the still acting district attorney was like, you know how it goes. They lose their job, it blows over for a while, and then they file an appeal, and this or that happens, and like 90-something% of the time they get their job back, right? He kind of got the encouragement, like he kind of said, hey Terry, ain't that right? And then the other guy was like, yeah, you're right. And they said they kind of talked about it for like another minute or so about how it happens. And I was just like, what? I don't know, man.
Y'all are so funny in the chat right now. Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, he will have on his record, he was fired. It's well known in Massachusetts. It's well known across the country and in parts of the world knows he was fired.
Yeah, because of the scale of it, right? Because of the scale of the case and the magnitude and the media, all the attention it gets, and it's still getting. Will they make an example out of him? Will the council just be like, well, the public got what they wanted, we're gonna get what we want? I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating.
No, you make an excellent point.
The council, we don't know how deep blue the council is. I don't mean that. I mean that in law enforcement blue. I don't mean that in political blue.
Yeah.
Um,
Renee says maybe he could go on a grievance tour.
yeah, it depends. It depends. Like, are they gonna make an example out of him, or are they gonna be like, no, you guys society got what they wanted. She's freed. We're gonna give him his job. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but we'll see.
We've also seen where, I mean, law enforcement in Massachusetts, it's no secret, is very corrupt, and it has been corrupt for a very long time. And
That's what I meant by deep blue, but I meant I
yeah,
meant
could
the blue, the law enforcement blue. I didn't mean it.
No, 100%. Could the people who were in charge of overseeing this appeal want to have his back just because? Which that is very possible.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, nobody had Officer John O'Keefe's back.
That is sad. That is true.
Horrifically sad.
Right. I mean, Karen was fighting for her life. I mean, that's what her that's what that team did. That's what she was doing. It was focused on her, and that's what the focus was. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
You're right. And it all gets lost for the unfortunate, deceased police officer in this.
So this was not the only thing that happened with Trooper Proctor this week. So let's go into a little bit deeper his job performance in regards to another case. So he appeared in court in person on Tuesday. So when Beckham said, that he rolled up with like the sunglasses and all that, was Tuesday.
Right. Yeah.
So he was expected to be called to the stand in a hearing connected to the 2021 murder of Marquise Simmons in Milton, Massachusetts. So Miles King and Brianna Gardner are charged in that case. We've talked about this a few weeks ago. Remember, Trooper Proctor was subpoenaed and supposed to be in court, didn't show. His attorney went. Adam Lally, state prosecutor, had to basically sit up there and be like, I don't know. I wasn't told. I don't know. And it was embarrassing. So attorneys this Tuesday met for hearings about investigative records and communications linked to Proctor. Again, even on the stand, that when Proctor didn't show before, Lally's saying, I've requested all these warrants from Trooper Proctor, but he never gave them to me. I requested it. He didn't give it to me. So, of course, the defense for King and Gardner are not letting this go, because to this day, where are the warrants? Trooper Proctor did all these things. Where are the warrants that justified those searches? So defense attorney Rosemary Scarpaccio, and I'm sure I just butchered that last name. So she is a pit bull. If you guys, in a great way, go and watch these hearings. You can find them on YouTube. So what she's saying is, quote, the first thing is to agree on what's new and what's not new. The second step is to be able to explain to the judge how it's prejudicial. I can tell you right now, the search warrants that were issued, we're going to get into that on cross-examination, but there are issues with the search warrants that we want to be able to explain to the court, end quote. So the judge and the attorneys addressed a bunch of scheduling issues related to the ongoing attempt to obtain records from Trooper Proctor or former Trooper Proctor's personal emails and text messages. The district attorney's office promised not to destroy the materials while it seeks more guidance from federal officials. Again, we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, that there was a time period on all of these messages from Proctor's phone that after the conclusion of the Karen retrial, I think it was 30 days or so, that those could all be destroyed. But they could play a big part in other cases, including this. So, of course, the defense is trying to say, we want to obtain those records. So, again, it's been kind of put on pause to not destroy those materials. So they indicated in a meeting with federal officials what was expected of them on Tuesday. Trooper Proctor, former Trooper Proctor, was not called to testify. So he was there in court, but he was not called to the stand. The next court scheduled hearing is on August 12th. So I know I will be watching that or listening to that while I'm at work, because yeah, it's going to be good. Again, where are the warrants? Where are all these documents that, again, you as a state police officer have to follow the law and get? You're not even handing them over to the prosecutor. You're not even handing it over to your own team for the trial. So I think that speaks on the job performance. But Beckham, what do you think?
It's all about job performance to me. Fail, 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 fail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it could cause. I don't know. It's either gonna hit the fan and it's gonna cause like a domino effect. If he gets fired, could it affect these cases? Yes, I possibly can. We've seen it over and over. It's like we're getting another example of it, right? Now, will this example be talked about or thought about when the special counsel makes a decision on his
appeal?
His appeal. There you go. I don't know, man. Like, this is crazy. I just hope that your friend, that turtle guy, like, just goes off on him even more and more. Baby turtle, whatever his name is. I don't know what his name
Turtle
is.
boy.
But anyway, so I mean, I hope we can just we can literally ride off into the sunset, Danny, and not have to hear about this guy anymore.
It's mind-blowing.
I know.
If you did it right, hand over your warrants. This law enforcement getting warrants to search X, Y, and Z in a case is nothing new. This happens every single day.
It's part of your routine.
So what's the issue here?
I don't. Yeah, I know. Right.
So let's go with what Beckham was saying about the podcast or the episode he was listening to. So let's say the appeal happens, and he gets his job back. All right, so let's go back to this case. You didn't do it right, so you're going to jump back in, and now what? Finally give the prosecutors that you're working with the warrants so that they can then pass them on to defense because of discovery. You have to hand over everything. I don't get it. I don't get it. And Lally, who's just, and I get it, he's the state prosecutor, he's in a bit of a position, but for him to just kind of, when he was in court, what was it, a week or two ago? Like, on the one hand, he's like, yeah, I asked, I didn't get it. But then he's like, I'm so sick. Beckham, and I'm getting angry. I'm so sick of, I understand having your coworkers' backs, but like at some point, what the fuck? Because he's just like, well, I asked, and he didn't.
Danny, let's say let's put you in this investigation. He's in his investigations. I know you wouldn't have any experience, but somebody would give you a checklist on a clipboard and say, Danny, do this first, do this second, do this third. And you're well educated enough and capable enough to follow the instructions on that clipboard. Better so that you've never done it before. You would do a 1,000% better job than you would ever do.
No shit. No shit.
Because I know how thorough you are, and you would be like following every step of that checklist. You know what I mean? And your job would be 1,000% better of doing his job that he supposedly does every day.
Thank you, Beckham.
And has been trained to do.
Here in my book, you just went up a little bit.
That he's been trained to do and gone to training and doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like.
It's just so frustrating because, okay, at the end of the day, we all want justice. We all want the bad guys, bad girl, whatever term you want to use, to be put in jail if they committed these crimes and these murders and these horrific things. We all want that. But everybody deserves a fair trial. And
you're always talking about that, even when the aces are stacked against them.
because it can come back on appeal and whatnot. But at the end of the day, Miles King and Brianna Gardner are charged in the murder of Marquise Simmons. So to charge two people with a murder, and as the state trooper in this case who worked it, you're not giving your own prosecutor the warrants and the whatnot to show this in court against these two people that you're charging. That just doesn't make sense. That it blows my mind. And of course the defense attorneys are like jumping on that, like this is unacceptable. And again, Lally, I've lost so much respect for him after the Karen Reed trial and the Karen Reed trial, part 2. And then going into this, where again, he's like, well, yeah, I asked it and he didn't bring it. And, yeah, I sent an email, but it's just like, you're almost like, okay, but at the end of the day, you've requested these for months and months and months, and he's not giving it to you. So what the hell's going on? And he's still like, well, and he'll do it. He'll just, it's embarrassing to watch this. I don't know.
It is, and we'll have to see what happens with the case, and we'll have to see what happens with his appeal.
Let's end it with this. Let's go back to what Proctor's attorney. The firing lacked, quote, just cause, end quote. With what we've all seen, interesting. And it's also interesting that Attorney Moynihan requested from the state police, quote, 269 disciplinary files, end quote. But they only got 5 so far? Why the fuck is there 269 disciplinary files? That's a problem. To me, that's a big problem. Because think of how many disciplinary files that there aren't. Because think about it. Trial 1 with Karen Reed, with Trooper Proctor, and what came out about the text messages and whatnot, he wasn't reprimanded for that. So there would have been no file. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that there's 269, to me, those 269 are probably really bad. And they had to be documented. It's okay. I see you guys being like, Danny, you're cussing it. I live here. This is scary. This is scary because at the end of the day, and I get it. Archie Mimi swear jar is kind of, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's fine. It's scary because at the end of the day, I want to feel protected by the law enforcement in my community. I want to feel if there's an issue, I can go to them and they're the good guy. They're going to help me. If something happens to me, they're going to help my loved ones. They're going to help my cats. I mean, if something happens to one of my family members, they're going to do right by them. They're going to do justice by them to make sure that whoever did whatever it is held accountable for their actions. And I get it. Sometimes it's a few bad apples that just ruins it for everybody. I get that. It's like that in every job. But in a job like this, it is scary. It is scary.
Very, it's very.
Yeah. You can buy a Danny After Dark swear jar on her merch site. Oh my God. That would be amazing. I would.
No, because James, why did you have to bring that up? That's going to make her cuss more.
I'll bring one. I'll leave one everywhere I go. I'll leave one here. I'll leave one at my work. I'll leave one at the cat shelter. I'll leave one at
You cussed at me
Starbucks.
today. You cussed at me today. I don't even know why.
You deserved it. I don't remember, but you deserved it. And if I did it prematurely, then you would have deserved it at another point. So it's
Whatever.
fine. She goes on great vacations from the swear jar cash. I wish corruption was developed in Boston. I know it's sad.
It all started with the Boston Tea Party. Go look it up.
Oh my God. Yeah, Beckham came to Massachusetts once, and now he thinks he's like a expert on.
I am. We're not going to go there, Danny. I actually pointed something out, and you, a fellow Bostonian or whatever the hell you call
Bostonian,
yourself, whatever you call yourself, didn't even know.
That is such bullshit. Beckham had a cold Sam Adams across the street.
No, that's not what I'm talking
about. Adams, and now he thinks he's like the shit.
Boston is the town of Beckham. They have formally given me the key to the city.
What's the timestamp? I need to screen grab that. Okay. On that note, all right, folks, next Friday, there will not be a True Crime and Chill. I have a dance event, a performance that I'll be a part of, so I will not be around. Again, there's an interview that will be happening on my channel next week. Y'all will not want to miss this. In regards to True Crime and Chill, I'm still trying to figure out my plans, whether I can do it on Thursday or Saturday. I'm still figuring out what's going on. Again, like everything leading up to like dance performance is like crazy. This is an outrage. I know. I'm sorry. I'll just give Corey Novak like access to the channel, and like he'll lead it, and like the show will like be way more successful than with me on it, and that's totally cool. So, all right, everybody. So that's that for this week. Beckham, thank you for joining as always. Corey Novak, shout out to Corey again for joining earlier in the show to talk about the West Memphis case. And yes, y'all have been heard. Yeah, we'll bring him back to talk more about this. And if there's an angle, y'all feel free comment on this video or send me a DM, an email or whatnot. If you're like, hey, I want Corey on to talk about this angle of the case. I would want to hear what he thinks about this or that or that. Let me know so that we can kind of, I can talk with him about that and kind of get something coordinated. Because I think it would be interesting to kind of talk about that with him here. I would personally enjoy it very much because he's so knowledgeable about this case. And yeah. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week. And remember, until next time. Beckham, do you know the send-off? Do you want to do it?
No, you go for it. I might screw it up.
Translation, he doesn't know it. We don't live in darkness.
Yeah, I was going to say, we live in darkness. Maybe others don't or something. I don't know.
Yeah, nope, that ain't it. All right, good night, everyone. Bye.